Glad to have you back. Now, Chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, Danladi Umar, says he is prepared to fight off the corruption charges filed against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
The EFCC brought the charges against Mr. Umar last month, accusing him of taking up to 10 million naira in bribes from a former customs official who was facing false assets declaration charges before him. Umar, in his first comments to the media since the details of the EFCC charges were made public, claimed he was facing trumped-up charges but was nonetheless prepared to vigorously defend himself in court.
The tribunal chief accused the EFCC of unstable tactics, saying the charges were brought against him after he had been twice cleared by the same agency.
Yes, indeed. Well, we have joining us in the studio a lawyer, Olayinka Ola Daniels. Good morning, and thanks for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning.
Okay, so what do you make of this back and forth between the EFCC and Danladi Umar, the chairman of the CCT? First, you clear him twice, and then all of a sudden, you say he has questions to answer over the same 10 million naira bribery allegations.
At what point the 180 U-turn come about? You see, we see sometimes these people make us see Nigeria as a comic arena.
A theater of the absurd, if you like.
Seriously. It is sad. You clear someone, and even as at the time the Saraki trial started, pardon me, the lawyer, the counsel to Saraki, actually raised that. There was a petition to that to say, this man can't...
wasn't qualified to...
Yeah, he's not qualified and he can't preside. Unfortunately, if you have 3 at the CCT, you can only have 2 to preside over, and 1 is a chairman. It is sad. Anyway, that is for another day. But if the lawyer raised that, and EFCC still came up to clear him at that point. So at what point did the EFCC now think that, oh, we are talking about the same matter? Yeah. We are talking about the same allegation of the 10 million. Yeah. So at what point? Is it, because he could not do their bid?
The minority whip of House of Representatives, Yakubu Brade, said, and I quote, "This development has the tendency to give an impression that a game is being arranged to meet certain predetermined results, portraying our legal system as capable of being manipulated."
Well,
end quote.
It is not totally wrong, because these people have not shown us, they've not shown us otherwise from the quotation you just read to us. Yeah. One, if, like I said, is a sad and absurd situation we find ourselves, because ordinarily, if it were to be the regular court and they had gone to the Court of Appeal, what ordinarily Court of Appeal would have done is to send it to another court entirely. That means another judge to preside over such. But you can't have that at CCT.
CCT, true.
Because that is all we have there. And the head is the chairman.
And to mean that the cases were brought back by the EFCC just few days to Saraki's court hearing.
Well, let me put it in 2 shades. One, we are not saying probably Saraki is not
absolutely.
Well,
yeah, or that he doesn't have any question
to answer
until proven guilty. Anyway,
but some of us, we remember that some of us, when Saraki was acquitted and discharged, we raised an eyebrow and we asked, why? You are not finished and you are acquitting and discharging someone. What he could have done at that time was to probably discharge and leave the acquitted thing and let it come. Let the court do their job, but you did that.
Well, this is almost turning out to be, this discussion now is almost turning out to be a Saraki thing. But we're talking about Danladi Umar.
Yeah.
It's obvious that we cannot talk about it without having recourse
to incidents really are connected
to Saraki's trial. So the issue of the CCT chairman, Danladi Umar, recusing himself, as Saraki's lawyers have asked, does not even occur in the first place. Is that what you're saying? Since, it's not, what obtains in the normal, regular court where the case can be transferred elsewhere.
It is, yes, it is sad, because if we're, like I said, to be regular court, maybe we would have gone to another court entirely to look at it. But is, okay, now, what do you expect to happen at this time? That the same tribunal that said there's no case to answer, now you expect the same tribunal to eat up his, to swallow his ruling or his whatever, then to then say, oh, there is a case to answer, while you are sending Saraki back to the same court to go and answer the 3-count charges left in the 18. Now, the same tribunal. So what, tell me if there's going to be any fair hearing.
Okay, as a lawyer, I want you to explain this to us now. What happens really if Justice Danladi Umar is at the end of the day found guilty of the allegations leveled against him? Of course, we already established that the fresh allegations were played against him a few days to Saraki's trial. So does it mean that if found guilty, whatever judgments he made within the period of charging him and then the judgment against him, would it render his judgments null and void, and that could affect the outcome of Saraki's trial?
It doesn't work that way.
Okay.
It doesn't work that way. If in the course of his duty, he has made a judgment, the only thing that can happen is for that judgment to be appealed. Do you understand? The only thing that can happen is for the judgment to be appealed. Then you leave it to the Court of Appeal to then decide whether, okay, this judgment holds. Oh, it does not hold, like what we saw, what happened while he was even still there. The Court of Appeal said, okay, these 3-count charges, go back and face that. So if whether he's found guilty or not, Court of Appeal will still do it.
So in other words, it will not, whatever his judgment is, that is Danladi Umar, it will not affect the outcome.
It won't affect
the eventual outcome.
No, not at all.
The Saraki case.
It can only be
or
appealed.
Any other case.
It can only go to Court of Appeal, whether they want to proceed ahead to the Supreme Court, whatever, but it can only go for that. But they can't say because, oh, he made a judgment or a ruling and he was found culpable or guilty of a particular charge. They can't say.
So what's the argument? What's the argument all about? Why are his lawyers, Saraki's lawyers, asking for him to recuse himself from this case in the first place?
The Saraki lawyer, they were saying that from what they had seen, this man has a case to answer. Initially, there were allegations against him, and they said, no, this man can't preside over this matter because they will not get fair hearing. That was the reason why they told him, save yourself from this mess. You can't preside over this matter. Why don't you just leave peacefully, excuse yourself? We can have another person, and we move we move from there. But unfortunately, he didn't adhere to that. Well, like he said, he's been cleared of any allegation. There was no case
according to him, he says he's ready to fight off these corruption charges. And he says it's unstable. What are the words he used again?
Well,
unstable tactics.
If I may say this, it's unfortunate if this government is coming to tell the people that they are fighting corruption.
And it's interesting that the CCT and EFCC are under the presidency. Right?
Yes. Don't forget that even when this whole, Saraki matter, we still have to come back to Saraki. When this whole thing, Saraki started, remember there were issues. Even when EFCC conducted their investigation and the DSS did, you remember what the CCT Chairman said? That he can't, that they have no business with that, that they have no business to investigate. And I'm wondering, the same federal government agency who says all of them can do their own investigation and harmonize whatever they have come about, and you are saying no. You could see that something was wrong even from the beginning, meaning they were not in harmony, they're not working together as agency of federal government. All of them are doing their thing, and that is the result of what we have seen so far. Is
something wrong when you hear from Umar's spokesman, Ibrahim Al-Hassan, that we're waiting, I'm quoting now, we're waiting for the court summon and which judge the case will be assigned to in respect to
Umar.
This Umar case. Does it really matter which judge the case will be before? Make us understand this.
He's only saying that, okay, they've not received summons. All this one, all we are hearing is all the media trial, the normal media trial. They've not received any summon. One, you have to receive summon first. After that, then the way it operates, if there's a case in court, it has to, when there's someone, when you file, there's a processes when you file and in the court record. Now, the court will then assign whether to court 1 or 2 or B to, you know, 3 like that, the judges. So it's when it's assigned to that judge, then when they get to court, the court will then tell whether the prosecutor, whatever, to serve them hearing notice.
Okay,
that is when they now discover, oh, this is, we are going to court so number, or so court Mr. A, Mr. B. Then when they know, then they go to court.
Let me button here. The Justice Danladi Umar, of course, is part of the judiciary. So the NJC recommendations earlier to the EFCC that the body should be given the space, you know, to investigate judges, erring judges. It is when found guilty, they would now send them to the EFCC for proper prosecution. Doesn't that apply to Justice Umar, or because he's a CCT judge, another
it's a different kettle of fish?
It does.
Okay.
Is a judge is a judge. It does. It applies to all the judges. But you see, this is what we are saying. If we belong to a group, if the judges belong to a group, and it is said that, okay, even if you're going to arrest or you're going to prosecute, at least during your investigation, give us our own room to do our own investigation. Then when we find whether culpable or not, we can submit our report to you to continue your work. But most cases, you don't see that happening.
Has the NJC been castrated, for want of a better word, when it comes to issues like this, in such a way that, you know, it almost has no role to play?
No. If you look at the latest event, particularly under the supervision of the current CJ, Justice Onohe, you find out that we've had series. In fact, recently, we just had one. Investigations were put up and they were conducted, and some were found culpable. And in fact, one was Jiro. One was suspended for a number of years before he can even file for SAN and all that. So the NJC is working now. Is really working. If only they are being given. The one that lied
about the places he administered, supervised.
You know, if they only given that room to do their work, and you don't just jump the gun before you then come back to NJC. No, like look at what happened at which state now, where the House of Assembly of the state just removed the CJ of the state. It is sad, it's absurd. They have no power to do such. They are supposed to go back to NJC. NJC would then decide. Then they even put an acting, and you heard the decision of the NJC. The NJC fired the acting, and they now told the governor, okay,
so what do you expect the NJC to be doing right now? Because it seems not to be saying anything.
Well, don't say that. You know, NJC does not believe in all this media trial or media noise that EFCC and the rest of them are doing. They are doing their own work. As we speak, I'm very certain that very soon you will hear a report from NJC. They are doing their own work on the ground, and I'm sure you're going to see that very soon. So that is what we are saying here. Danladi, well, he has said that he's ready for the fight
to the finish.
Saying that, well, then we can't judge him, we can't find him guilty before trial. Let him find him culpable first. Then from there, we'll see how it goes. But it is sad. We need to restructure the CCT in the first place. Because if that is the case, it won't be the one to sit over this matter.
Is it just the CCT that needs restructuring, or all the anti-corruption agencies, including the EFCC itself? You have the EFCC, CCT, there's the ICPC and the rest of them. How does this leave, what are the fortunes of these anti-corruption agencies when they themselves don't seem to be above board like Caesar's wife?
I will say this. Some of us clamor for this reform in all these agencies, all the institutions, particularly all institutions in Nigeria, police, EFCC, ICPC, all of them. We need serious reform. One, there is one to know your duty, your obligations, what you have to do as an agency. That is another one to follow due process in the course of your carrying out such assignment.
Major challenge, really. Following due process.
We hardly do that. You know, that's why people just go and they do anything. In fact, before you even say, oh, this person is culpable, already the media, they've convicted whoever. Why? Because the EFCC, because the agency had gone on air to announce what you are not even sure of. And that's the reason why you see that when they get to court, in the end, they had been knocked out. Why? Because they've not even done due diligence. They've not followed due process. All they do is just make noise, and they come and nothing happens in the end. It is sad. It is absurd. We need a total reform in all these agencies, and they really need to. They need to drop their egos. I remember DSS and EFCC too. They had their own issues.
What do you think is even playing out between the EFCC and the CCT? Now that you mentioned the word ego, is it possible that there's ego playing out somewhere?
How do we start when, as of 2012, there was a government in place? There was a letter, a petition was written to the AG of that same government, to AG advise Mr. President that you need to move this guy. Yes, the Attorney General advised Mr. President, that was former President Goodluck Jonathan, that this man, this is the allegation against him, I think, to save our face. This man needs to leave. Nothing was done. 2012 up to when? Now, it happened again. EFCC still went, we have another president, we have another AG. The file went to the AG's table. What did the AG do? The AG didn't say anything. The Attorney General, the current Attorney General didn't say anything wrong with the allegation. If you know, he has no case to answer. EFCC has cleared him. What did he do?
And that's why the members of the House of Reps have already slammed the AGF, saying, look, what is going on now, you know, exposes the Nigeria's legal system to manipulation. And what does that mean at the end of the day for the whole administration of justice?
They just make the whole administration of justice look laughable. Because sometimes you ask, even you as a lawyer, you ask some question and you're wondering, why do we have a system like this that it's not as if these people don't know the truth. It's not as if they don't know what to be done, but somehow, probably by friends, probably by Kaba, probably by some group of people, they just feel, no, this is our own. No, it can't go through that line. You can't tell me they don't know the truth. You can't.
Would you say it's because these agencies we've mentioned are appendages of the executive arm of government, that if they were independent, they would perform better? Because we've heard EFCC rubbing shoulders with DSS when they went to arrest Ekpeyong, former DG of NIA. So
you can't take that out.
It's endless.
You cannot take that out, because that's the reason why you see some of the head of the agencies will say that, oh, they're not accountable to anyone but Mr. President. In fact, when they're supposed to even follow due process, the other man, the other time, there was a letter you need to give to Mr. President, which is supposed to go through your chairman. The head of your minister, we're supposed to go through the chairman, but you
circumventing.
You know, you now had to go to meet. See, it's still like, oh, my
because
man.
Because they could base their decision on the body language of the president.
Thank you, because we are still talking about individual and not institution. And that is why we are here where we are today. Because why? Mr. President insists, this is my candidate, and I bring him in. That insists, this is my candidate, I bring him in. That candidate is only going to, what? Be accountable to Mr. President. What are we talking about? We are back to the military era, where the head of state is the one in charge, and he just deals directly to whoever that is dealing with. No processes. This is democracy. Due process needs to be followed. We need to observe some things which we must do as democratic people if we claim to be governed by such terms. But unfortunately, what we have is not.
What are the moral implications of a case like this around the CCT chairman's neck?
It's not good for us at all in any way. It's not good for judiciary. It's not good for the system. It's not good for CCT. It's not good for anyone. If such is coming, it shouldn't be heard of. It shouldn't be heard of that the CCT chairman is found in. I'm not going to convict him because it's still an allegation and this. But if I'm looking from 2012, what has been happening, and the same person is still there. And don't forget, The man that came about the allegation of 10 million is not even just present case.
Yeah, it's been
I mean, this is 2012 that we've been on this. Some 10 million and the 1.8 million was received by his own aides and all that, and nobody has said anything.
Now, you talked about the EFCC boggling its cases because it doesn't take its time to build evidence before going to court. As a lawyer, do you think EFCC has trapped itself again, you know, after clearing Justice Umar and then bringing back the same allegation?
EFCC has set himself ablaze. That's the truth. And they are not just starting. They've been doing it before now. You know, they probably, there's a section of government that comes in, and I'm interested in this case. We've had a series of cases that a particular government will say, I'm interested, and they'll say, okay, drop it. And another government will come and say, I know, why will you drop that? Let's, you know, proceed.
Let's see it through.
I mean, so it will happen. One, they are not independent. On paper, they will say, yes, they are. Yeah. But seriously, practical, who dictates? Who dictate the turn? Who appoints? We can see what is happening. The tussle between what's his name now? Magu. The Senate recommending Magu. Confirming Magu. Mr. President insisting, okay, well, it will remain the acting.
And the court now saying that the Senate has power.
No, Senate. The only power Senate has, the only power the Constitution has given Senate is for confirmation. Senate can appoint,
and it can
withhold
the confirmation.
Yes. It can.
But what the court has said is that the Senate has the power to confirm and to question. And to question.
Very well.
So if the Senate has the power to question.
Yes. And the Senate has done that. Senate he has withdrawn the confirmation.
They never gave it.
Nobody is being questioned, but the power does not transpose to mean that Mr. President must say, because Senate has refused to confirm, I need to discharge this man.
So in other words, the Senate does not have the power to recommend.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No.
They cannot recommend.
To confirm. They can't recommend. No,
confirm.
It doesn't. The Constitution made it clear.
All right.
His job is to confirm.
Generally now, how important, because of this case now against Justice Danladi Umar and of course the other judges, and then Justice Ademola, what's just happened to him now by the presidency.
Yeah.
How important is it really for judges, Nigerian judges now, especially now that the country is, the government is waging war against corruption? How important is it for them to be incorruptible? Because it seems, well, politicians have been accused of somehow luring them.
When we talk about corruption, we are not being sincere to ourselves. What we are dealing with today is the fruits of corruption, not corruption. You know, sometimes when I come on air and I tell people that we are not fighting any corruption, we are only recovering money, people go, how can you say that? Yeah, when you say plea bargaining, it's not just recovering money. Somebody stole money
like
a lot of people died.
Yes. Like the FCT.
I mean, a lot of people died in the money that was supposed to be meant for something. Some people took it for their own personal use, and a lot of people died. Family lost their own people. Then what you see is plea bargaining that, oh, just come and drop the money. Don't worry. Oh, it's supposed to be live. I mean, some of the money. I mean, it is absurd. See, and you're telling me you are fighting corruption?
Okay.
Now, sorry. So, what you see with Justice Ademola and the rest of them and all that, it didn't just start today. Something started a long time ago. What was done?
And nothing was done about it.
Thank you. Like I said, the fruits.
Let me just remind you of
a root that we have.
A book I read in secondary school, The Incorruptible Judge.
That was
I wonder where that book is.
That was why I asked the question, was based on that novel.
All right, we'll have to live with that.
No, let me clear this before you go. Let me clear this before you go off. Not everybody is corrupt. Everybody is not corrupt. We have judges that are clean. So don't let anybody come under the delusion that all judges are corrupt. No, there are clean judges, there are clean people. There are people that can do this work without fear or favor.
But you know what they say about one bad apple?
Putting them there.
One bad apple.
And Lagos has been able to, you know, improve the system and improve the judicial system. Olayinka Daniels, you're a lawyer. Thank you very much for coming on to the show.
Pleasure. Thank you.
All right, now we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll have a security expert here to analyze the meeting President Muhammadu Buhari had yesterday with some service chiefs, and of course, it was even an enlarged meeting of security personnel for the country. Stay with us on the show.